Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles market update. Today is Wednesday, the 30th of April, 2025, and I'm Gianni DePoci, your host. We have some pretty important geocosmic actions taking place right now. We have Venus ingressing into the sign of Aries today. We had a GDP report from the first quarter that came in below estimates, and we are now seeing stocks on the decline. You can take a look at the Dow Jones here. We're down about 2/3% from where we closed yesterday. Now, going later into this week, we do have a conjunction between Venus and Neptune. So that's also going to be important because it's taking place in the sign of Aries. And the first conjunction that's going to occur between Venus and Neptune in the sign of Aries, ever since Neptune ingressed into that sign a couple of months ago. So something to keep an eye on, could be some panic buying, panic selling. Right now, we had some selling, but we are off the lows of the day. GDP did come in only slightly worse than expectations. And interestingly, if you took out the surge of imports that we saw that basically front ran the tariffs, we would have had a positive GDP rating. So it's almost as if the tariffs artificially created a negative GDP print because you had a bunch of importers trying to order the goods ahead of time before the tariffs went into effect. Now, we do have Pluto going retrograde on Sunday, the 4th of May. That's also going to be important. I'll talk about why that's the case in just a moment. But the Dow is down today. The NASDAQ is down a little bit more as well. But we've had a pretty impressive rally from that low on the 7th of April. And now, from a trend following standpoint, we could make the argument that a lower high is being formed here and some caution is advised. But we also have to look forward to see if we form a higher low in the coming sessions. That could actually end up being constructive in the long run. And so what we're looking for going forward, there is a Fed meeting coming up soon on the 7th of May. And with Pluto going retrograde, we have been seeing interest rates come down on the long end of the curve for the most part. Today, you are seeing long-term bond yields come up a little bit, so bond prices are down. But between inflation basically being a non-factor for now and the economy coming in negative, there really is little reason left for Jerome Powell to not cut rates. That being said, we're not looking for that rate cut in May. We're looking for it more in June, closer to the third and final Jupiter-Saturn square and around the Jupiter-Neptune square. And I think this is still, I've been talking about this, and I think it's going to be a case where it really starts to pick up, maybe later this year, early next year. I think we're seeing the groundwork laid for an even greater feud between not just Trump and Powell, but Trump and the Fed, because some are going to blame inflation on tariffs when it comes back, while others are going to blame the Fed and money printing when inflation comes back. So we'll be looking for bonds, but right now it does look like bonds are going to continue higher and interest rates are going to continue lower, and that signals near term that inflation is not a big concern, especially when you take a look at crude oil getting absolutely hammered again today, down over 3%. We can't rule out a temporary bottom coming in the next few sessions, especially going into the Venus-Neptune conjunction later this week. But you could even break support. We are coming into the time band for some important cyclical reversals, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. And it may even be a case where we form a bottom just before Saturn goes into Aries later in May, or the final bottom could occur when Saturn retrogrades back into Pisces later this year. So just something to keep an eye on. Gold and silver still hanging out near their highs here. Gold is consolidating its gains. That is constructive price action, going sideways near the high, trying to hold on to those gains. Silver down a little bit more today, but we are off the lows of the day, and we're keeping an eye on that. I'm looking forward to Jupiter going into the sign of Cancer, because Cancer rules the moon, or is ruled by the moon, and rules silver. So between Neptune and Aries, which the sun is exalted in, and Jupiter being in Cancer, you have two inflationary planets in the signs that rule precious metals. And so I don't think this party in precious metals is over just yet. So, when it comes to other markets that we're watching now, with the upcoming geocosmics, Venus set to conjoin Neptune. We also keep an eye on currencies around this time. And, the euro currency has appreciated quite a bit over the last few months. And so we can't rule out an extended period of sideways action. The bias is still to the upside here. But, one of the things that I'm going to be watching for next week when we have the Fed meeting has to do with Powell potentially changing his verbiage around interest rate cuts, because now we have the data at the GDP level to justify that. And perhaps that's what Pluto retrograde is signaling, and maybe even Venus conjunct Neptune wishful thinking, because we're going to be, kind of close in that conjunction by this time next week too. So, the dollar still looks weak, still looks like it has issues, but what is looking better and better is Bitcoin. As long as we're above this $88,000 to $90,000 zone, there is some possibility for some more upside. Now, recall that we like to look at Bitcoin making 20% or greater moves when Venus goes into the sign of Taurus. Now, we're not quite there yet, but we can look forward to that in early June. And if we are starting a new cycle, if we have begun a new cycle, our bias for that 20% move would still be to the upside. So something to keep on your radar there as well. You take a look at Ethereum, lagging a little bit, still forming lower lows and lower highs, but we have satisfied some of the criteria for a longer term bottom. But that's basically what's going on in this market right now. So, some perhaps uncertainty, wishful thinking when it comes to the economic situation, when it comes to Pluto going retrograde, a lot of emphasis on interest rates and taxes. Obviously, tariffs are tax, so something to consider there as well. But that's what we have for this week. So we're going to have a couple of exciting guests coming up in the month of May. So I hope that you tune in and stick around for that. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button. We do have weekly updates here with guests and just regular reviews like we did today. We did recently publish the monthly tech report and the monthly grains report and the monthly addendum plus. So check those out at our website, www.mmacycles.com. All three analysts, Vipka Held, Puyan Zulfagarnia, and Wyatt Fellows, staying on top of the tech sector, stocks, grains, and more. And of course, enrollment for the Merriman Market Timing Academy is now open. We're only limiting spots to 50 students, and we already have around 15 that have registered since we opened up registration just a couple of weeks ago. So I think these spots are going to fill up quick. And if you want to learn more, please send us a note at customerservice@mmacycles.com. That's all for now, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you same time, same place next week.